Okay, Adam, you are a actual stranger to me. It's good to meet you. We linked up for my friend Tyler. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I had a meeting with him asking him to be a guest on my podcast. He suggested I reach out to you, book this meeting, and here we are on a podcast together.
You're nailing it. Well, who are you?
Dude, my name's Adam Peters. I was an infantryman in the Army for almost 13 years, was medically retired in 2015. Spent a bunch of time in the transition hole feeling sorry for myself. Had a really cool ayahuasca experience last year, completely changed my life. Lost 100 pounds, started the Strategic Veteran, which is basically to help transitioning veterans see the path back to purpose through entrepreneurship. And so that's a podcast, that's a paid community. That's teaching dudes how to get their SDVOBs, all kinds of stuff, man.
Dude, that is an excellent elevator pitch. You just nailed it. You got that locked down. That was great.
It's my passion, man. It's what I do. Ayahuasca showed me what I'm here to do is help a community that I love dearly, that I'm a part of, beat that epidemic of suicide. I just can't take picking up my phone to 3 or 4 notifications of dead battle buddies anymore, man.
Bro. Dude, I only did 4 years in the Army, but it's probably the most impactful thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I was reading your website, man, where it said you learned a lot of things. You grew up, and then you got out and became a drunk and a drug addict for about 8 years.
I did do that. Yeah, that's it's the exact path that you are trying to help folks with. I mean, everybody has their version. Mine's not as bad as most, but you get out and you're like, I was cocky. I was like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna figure this out. And the civilian world is hard in ways that are finding purpose is it's harder than people think. It's actually it's it's a very hard problem, especially if you do it the way I did it, which is thinking that I knew best.
Yeah, well, I think we all get out and think that, right? Like it's hard. I don't know what you did while you were in, but particularly from a combat arms standpoint, like that is very much the mentality and the attitude. Like I can do anything and I'll figure it out my way.
Yeah, what's interesting, especially it's young folks in the military generally. You think you're adults, but it's young folks. I was a commo guy for third group.
Okay.
So I was technically not a combat arms MOS, but man, I was in there.
Yeah, you're doing the thing.
I was doing the thing. So what's interesting about the military is you get there, you're like, dude, I can do anything. I can go to war. I can help. I can be productive. Da da da. But what you don't realize is the infrastructure that you're part of is so much bigger and grander than you, and it's easy, especially when you're young, to I don't want to just say take it for granted because it's not. It's just like a naive lack of respect for how deep those values and those traditions and that infrastructure and that structure goes that keeps you focused and alive and focus and sort of looking in the same direction every day. And then you get out and you're like, I lost way more than it took me years to realize how much I lost when I left.
I think I would argue that maybe you never knew who you were. I don't know how old you were when you joined, but I was 17. And so from 17 to 30, all I knew was the Army infantry, right? So that very much impacted who I thought I was, what I thought I knew about myself, what I thought I was capable of. That, and obviously a lot of other factors, some unresolved traumas growing up, that kind of shit. But sorry, bad language, my bad. but I think that really is a part of the problem, man. Is everybody, at least the transitioning veterans I'm talking to these days, they're so wrapped up in the Army trains you to do one job, to do it to the best of your ability at all costs, right? Like just accomplish the mission. And when you don't have that mission anymore, you're just left standing there with your dick in your hand, like, who am I and what now, right? And I think that's what makes it so challenging to find your place in the civilian world. And I guess for me, man, I just want to be a guy I didn't have when I got out.
Yeah, I love it. I'm part of a group that doesn't do exactly that, but it's more financially minded, called the War Room. It's been a tremendous help for me. not exactly the same thing, but it's a bunch of veterans that get together and they're like, "Hey, let's do something together."
Yeah.
Usually in real estate, sometimes in business. There's a lot of overlap between the two, but
Is Brandon Jenkins a part of that?
I know Brandon Jenkins.
Yeah, I did an interview with him. He's coming out in a couple weeks on my show, and I think when I was doing my due diligence to figure out who you were and what you were about on LinkedIn, it said we had Tyler and Brandon in common, and I'm pretty sure Brandon's dropped the War Room to me a couple of times.
Yeah, Brandon, I think I just saw him in freaking Maryland with Adam Whitney's deal. So pretty sure we were just sitting next to each other. Although I don't like know him, so it was a little bit weird. There's a bunch of people there. Um, I'm pretty sure he's in the war room. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it sounded familiar, man. And I talk to so many people. It's hard to keep up with all the cool communities and all the spaces for veterans that are out there. And like, I don't know, man. There really is just a lot of resources with a lot of people out there that want to help veterans. And I just want to be one of those, you know?
Yeah, dude, I get it. I don't. I'm not a community like leader. I'm more of a. I'm like a. I'm a super connector in a lot of ways. So I'm like, okay, here's who you need to know. But in terms of like, putting my flag up and being like, this is going to be my thing. I've not been super good at that. So I'm very grateful for guys like you and the others. My friend Dave, who runs the War Room, and just folks that are like, I'll sit and commit to this every day and build a structure and give people a sort of a culture. I'm much more as much as I love people and love being parts of communities. I'm much more, you know, I live in chaos. I'm like, I'll show up, I'll entertain, I'll give, but like somebody else has got to run the operations. Somebody else has got to.
I don't know, man. That's what I wanted too, right? Like I fancy myself a super connector like you, just a connector in general. I don't know about super, but in order to do that full time, I needed to build the community. So let's just build the community and share the network with veterans who are struggling. That's really kind of my whole mentality, man. And I just know for me, it's helped a ton just to be a part of that, to be around like-minded folks, to learn about entrepreneurship, business, real estate, storage, if that's what you want to learn about, right? Infinite banking, all these coaching programs that different veterans have out there doing, good work to make our minds right. It's been awesome, man. It's been really cool. I get to meet strangers like you and have wonderful conversations, and it's just great, dude.
Dude, I love that. That's great. And if it feeds you, if it's what they say, like solve your problem, your past's problems,
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah,
I
your
applaud
past
you.
self's problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what my past self's problems are. I'm still too busy trying to fix today's self problems. So I applaud you for going out and having that vision and executing on it and collecting some people and trying to put together a purpose for folks. It's not easy.
I mean, I guess you just like, I don't know, a little bit about leadership, having been a Green Beret or with those guys. And like, I just kind of got tired of not being a leader anymore, right? So like, just step up and be a leader in the space and show them what right looks like and that there's a better way.
Yeah, that's 90% of that is like 90% of the civilian world. It's way harder than people think. It's like you just have to go first.
Right.
And somebody else might be doing the similar thing or even the same thing and but 99% of people are just not going to do the thing. And so if you just go and do it, you will win.
Every
You
time.
it's like you just my fiance, my lovely fiance is she's a quilter and she started a quilt business and she's constantly surprised every day we have a little fight. She's like, I can't believe this is working. And I'm like, you're just going on the internet and you're like, I have a product that you want and I'll sell it to you. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you about it and I'll be loud about it. And that puts you in the 1 percentile. Just doing it and talking about it puts you in the 1 percentile.
Well, she's got another buyer here because I've been looking for somebody to make me a king size quilt since my grandmother died several years ago. So you'll have to drop me the link for that, and I'll go buy a quilt.
Yeah, email me. Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what do you do, my friend? I know you're in real estate. I read that on your website. You spent $3,500 to buy your first house that has, what I think in your words, made you more money than you have any right to make.
Yeah. So I was looking for. I'm a very obsessive person, and around what 10 years ago now? Yeah, about 10 years ago now. I got sick of being a drunk. Got sick of doing. Never get sick of doing drugs, but I knew it wasn't good for me anymore. So I was like, I got to do something else. I got sick of being broke. And so I was like, man, I got to do this investing thing. And I kind of, in a weird way, I found my purpose in like, I just became obsessed with this idea of financial freedom. And, you have bad NCOs in the military and you have good NCOs in the military, but the civilian world, it's like you have the same, you have more bad than good. And there's just so much less respect. I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys are just knuckleheads. They're not great leaders. Sometimes they make good money and that's about it. So I was like, I'm sick of working for these knuckleheads. So I was like, I got to make money on my terms. In 2014, the real estate market had crashed. And everything was underpriced. And so I just, found that purpose. Like I can create financial freedom through real estate. So I bought a foreclosure I was at Fort Bragg. I bought a foreclosure. Yeah, $3,500. I lived in it for like a year and a half. I put a little sweat equity into it. And I mean like a little bit of paint here and a little bit of floors there. And it appraised for like $90,000, $80,000 more than I had paid for it 18 months before. And I was like, this works.
Yeah, there's a thing to this.
This works. Are you serious? This works. I was in handcuffs 2 years ago. Now I made 90 grand. Are you serious? I'd never seen 90 grand. Maybe it wasn't 90. It was close to that. So yeah, I spent from 2014 till about 2021. It's all I did. I said, I'm just going to buy real estate. And along the way, I picked up one of these.
Okay.
And this is my purpose. I don't know why. I didn't choose it.
It shows you.
Whatever it is, it chose me. I can't get rid of it. That thing changed my life in ways that I can't describe. And the thing about money is, I tell this to people a lot of times. Like I love making money, especially when it's easy. Many times, if you do it right, making money is kind of easy. Money will only solve money problems. It won't give you purpose.
Nope.
What it will do is free you up so you can stop doing all the stuff you hate. So you can go, if you're lucky, find the purpose.
It's a
Not
tool,
every-
right? Money's a
not every-
tool.
Money is a tool. Money is like it's overhead, and you got to solve overhead so that you're not spending all day here solving the overhead. Once you solve the overhead, you're like, okay, maybe you do want to make money. Maybe that's the thing you're supposed to do. Most people aren't designed to be business owners or entrepreneurs. They're designed for some other thing. And I struggle where I'm like, dude, I want more money, but this is not like the most profitable thing I could do with my time, but I don't get the choice. So now the challenge that I usually face is how can I make what I love and like create? How can I create the thing I love and make a lot of money? Which is it's a great challenge. It is a challenge. It's a great challenge. I'm actually getting pretty good at it. But the real estate gave me freedom. I bought enough, thankfully, that I have basically like what I call like level 1 freedom. My definition of financial freedom is when you make the average American income passively. That is what I call financial freedom by a measurable metric. So I have that, and I don't live all off of that. I live with, I still try to make money, but I stopped buying real estate as it got much harder since 2021. It got much harder, and I was like, you know what? I don't buy things that don't make money, and nothing right now. Look, there's a lot of people not making money, and that's their fucking problem. So I've been focused a lot on cameras. So that's where I'm at right now.
What do you like to take pictures of?
Primarily people.
Really?
Dude, I am obsessed with people. They are my guiding light. I will never stop talking about it. I love people so much, and I find them all to be. They're all interesting. They're not all interesting on camera, but that's a different story. But a lot of people, I'm like, dude, you got it in the right light. It's kind of like we're talking about. Once you find your purpose, like things line up.
Yeah,
So
it just clicks.
Somebody in their pocket, I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, I had another friend who she was great on camera. She was very model, very like, she loved being on camera, and she was, very attractive girl. And we did this one thing. And then when I tried to do that thing with my now fiance, it just didn't work the right way. And then now that she's starting the store and I started telling stories about her doing the store, it's clicking. So finding, so I love telling stories about people in their when they find their in their zone of genius.
That's cool, man. It's still storytelling too, right? Through pictures. I tell stories on a podcast, or I help veterans tell their stories, right? Like that's, I don't know. There's something to it, man. I'm curious for you. Like, did you always like people, or is that like a newfound thing for you when you discovered your purpose?
First off, I want to point out that this is a podcast about you, not me. Then,
My bad, man.
you're a,
Sorry.
to be fair, you're the podcaster. I'm here trying to create content. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like having interesting conversations with people, so I'm just teasing. I'm actually not a great podcaster, so this is fine. Um, I think I think a lot about words and context of words and what they mean. And so if I look back on my life, I could tell you now at 40 that I have always been an extrovert, and a lot of the problems that I had in my childhood were because I didn't understand what that was and how to deal with it. And so it creates when you it would create like I would use it poorly. For example, the drinking. The drinking wasn't all because I have some alcoholic gene. It's because I wanted to extrovert, and all the people would hang out on Friday nights, and I wanted to be around all the people all the time.
Yep. I
And
get
so I
it.
FOMO, all the parties. I go to all the things. Hey, you guys want to go out on Wednesday and get blackout drunk? Yup. Hey, you want to go out
Yep.
on Friday and get blackout drunk? Yup. You want to go out on Saturday and get blackout drunk?
Of
Yup.
course. Yeah.
The drunk was fun and immature, but I probably, in retrospect, I could have done it without the drunk if I had more people.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I never really cared for people until after the ayahuasca experience. And now all I care about is helping people. My sole purpose, I feel like, is just to improve someone's position in life incrementally, just one step forward. That's it. And it brings me so much joy, dude. It's just so much fun to have a session with a veteran who's struggling with the transition and to give them a tool here or a tool there and watch their life change, to get the texts that are like, dude, I took that gratitude practice. I went and I did what you asked. And I told my wife I was grateful for her. And I can't tell you how much better I feel for doing that, right?
Where
Or
was this? I don't remember this.
yeah,
Like
you didn't
deep
get.
dive me. I feel vulnerable.
Oh man,
Where was this? No, I'm serious.
where was what?
What do you say? Gratitude practice?
Yeah, man, I learned gratitude during my psychedelic integration before and after the ayahuasca experience. So I got picked up by Heroic Hearts Project to go to Peru last year in July. We're actually coming up on the 1 year anniversary, and part of that whole experience is I can't remember how long it is, but you do a whole like integration process where you do meetings, you do one-on-ones with a coach, and then you do group meetings before you go on the trip. And then you have a set amount of time where you do these meetings afterwards. And a lot of the stuff they give you is holistic healing principles, right? So yoga, mindfulness, meditation, breath work. Breath work's a big one for me. The gratitude practice, mindset stuff. The one I've latched onto here lately is the abundance mindset, because I believe it's super powerful if we sit around and look. I have an abundance of things. I have $5,000 worth of equipment sitting on my desk right now, right? Like, I'm not as bad off as I think that I am, right? And, I don't even know how much that camera costs. I've been looking for a camera so I don't have to use my iPhone to do podcasts anymore. But
That's my camera.
yeah, but so that's the kind of stuff that I try to pass along to veterans who are going through the transition. Is like, first we got to get your head right, and we need to identify, first of all, who are you? What the fuck are your core values and beliefs? What makes you happy, right? And a good way to do that is to tell them to start expressing gratitude out loud for things, right? I have a gratitude practice. It ebbs and flows right now. I haven't been doing it. But in the morning, I used to get up out loud and I would say 5 things I'm grateful for before my feet touch the floor, right?
Saying it out loud is a principle of mine. It makes
Yeah.
a big difference.
And I don't understand the power behind it, but it's so powerful, man. I sign my emails with gratitude now. Like I anytime somebody connects with me on LinkedIn or accepts an offer to be a guest on my podcast, I'm grateful for you. I really appreciate you spending your time with me to help me grow and to let me help tell your story, whatever it may be. I just see the value in expressing gratitude for everything. You know, I'm grateful that I had a back surgery in January, and I wake up with pain every morning, but it's way less pain than I had before the surgery. And I'm grateful that now I can do more physical activities than I could 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, I think for me, reframing all of that stuff and really trying to see that there's a lot to be grateful for, just waking up every day. Like, that's not guaranteed, man. And, you know, like, people die every day from the strangest shit. Like, you never know.
Yeah. I was thankful in a weird way. I love deployment in the Army. So I went downrange twice to Kabul in '03 and '04. And man, seeing those guys and what they go through, the locals, the poverty that they just exist with for no reason, made me really understanding how good Americans have it. Like way beyond what most people realize. And then nowadays, you'll get a kick out of this one. I have a principle that I live by called the year of 1900, or excuse me, the rule of 1900. And so the rule is, if it didn't exist at all in the year 1900, then you can't complain about it not working great today.
I love that.
And the year 1900 is important because it's like, I don't know, it's two 62-year-old people living back to back. It's not that long. And in fact, if you have like a great grandparent that's still alive and they're like 100, then you don't even have to go to the year 1900. Like sometimes even a little after that. And so if you start thinking cars, internet, refrigeration, electricity, lighting, I mean, to get to Europe, I fly to Charlotte and then I'm like an 8-hour flight to Spain. Like I'm in Europe. Boom.
You would have had to do that on a ship.
Dude, you're talking about a carriage, a train, a ship, a train, like months, you know?
You know, I'm blessed that my grandmother was on my dad's side was probably the most important woman I've ever had in my life. And she was born in 1919, never had a driver's license. So I got to hear all the stories about all the stuff that they didn't have. You know, she was born in rural Kentucky. So even still kind of had some things that probably aren't appropriate to talk about on the internet going on. But it's just, it really is the way of the world back then, you know?
Yeah. And you know, we did 12,000 years. 12,000 years of, you know, semblances, at least, of civilization where these just things didn't exist. And now in, you know, 120 years, like we have all these things and it's just, and if you live in America,
you're lucky. You know,
actually,
yeah, I agree.
Oh, when people ask me how I'm doing, you say, "Oh, I answer my emails with gratitude." The way I usually answer people, and they're like, "How you doing?" I'm like, the way I answer day in and day out, I say, "I'm the luckiest guy on earth. How are you doing?"
Right. Well, and that goes back to what you said, like being in Kabul, right? I remember my first deployment was in '04, the end of '04 to Tikrit, Iraq. We drove from Kuwait all the way up to Tikrit, and what I remember most about Iraq in particular is these people live like they're in the Stone Age, but they have cars and satellite dishes and cell phones. They don't have running water. They walk out of their back doors to take a shit and just shit like in the dirt right outside their back door. Downriver. Like, you know, yeah, downriver. Fucking shit troughs run right through the middle of their cities, through their markets. Like, I have stories about patrolling through shit waters in heat Iraq on my second deployment. And then, you know, Afghanistan, same way. I watch people bathe in the wells that they drink their water from, like if they bathe. And it's like, you know, it's crazy. And I think really what kind of opened my mind to how truly good we have it and like how mentally ill we all are is when I went to Peru last year. I saw a lot of it before, but I saw it even more clear after the ayahuasca ceremonies. Everybody in Peru is happy. Everybody is happy, and it's very third world there. It's not a lot of infrastructure. They do have electricity, obviously, but it's very archaic, and it reminded me a lot of Iraq. But that people were friendly, people were happy, they weren't bitching, they were putting on their Sunday's best and partying in the dirty streets, and you know, just genuinely curious about who you are. And it's like, man, America's not like that at all.
No, we're fussy and entitled.
Yeah, it's bad.
Dude, I got to wrap this up. It was really good to meet you. I feel like I could talk to you for another probably hour and a half.
Well, that's cool. Before you wrap it up, will you come do the long form version of my podcast?
Yeah, heck yeah. What's it called?
It's called The Strategic Veteran.
That tracks. That makes sense. I asked that. I looked down. I'm like, I bet you I know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to have you on, man.
Tell me a little bit more about the platform.
Yeah, so I do the same thing that you do in Riverside. I have a booking link email that I'll send you. You schedule through TidyCal. You answer 14 questions so I can build an introduction about you. The format of the show is in thirds. First third is early life, where you grew up, what influenced you to join the military. The second is your transition, where I'm sure you've got an interesting story where we can dive into it and I can do my thing as a podcast host, as you so graciously pointed out earlier. And then the last third is about your business and entrepreneurship and why it can be a purpose, a path back to purpose for veterans. And any inside tips you want to share with veterans, how you built your business, things that you think they should know, just trying to really set an example. I know if I would have saw a podcast like mine where I saw veterans talking about the deep, dark transition hole and the shit they're going through, I would have been able to relate and pulled myself out of that hole instead of wallowing in it and putting a gun in my mouth.
Yeah. I think knowing that there's other people going through the struggle is useful always. And then taking it more seriously than I had realized when I got out, that would have helped me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're fine. You're just gonna, you'll putz around. Oh, you'll make a little bit of money. Like, it's just, even though I didn't go down the hole as far as some people did, I did my version of it. And, it's just 8 years that just nothing good, nothing great in my life accumulated. It's just wasted potential. It's just drifting, and drifting is good for no one. And,
Amen.
And look, drifting leads to a lot of worse things. I mean, I'm so grateful that I didn't turn out worse. I got my stuff together. It had to get me a lot of pain to get there, but some people go through way worse. So I'm grateful, like, it could have been worse, but I look at it and go, I don't know. I could have not wasted 8 years. 8 years, especially when it comes to money, because money compounds. Eight years is a lot.
A long time.
That's a lot.
I wasted the same amount of time, brother. 2015 to 2022, 23.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, it was very good to meet you. Let's. I got another question for you.
Yeah.
What's your Myers-Briggs type?
Oh God, you're gonna ask me this. It's whatever the leader one is. ENTJ, I think.
I have a little WhatsApp group. It's a private WhatsApp group, or the group is public now, but there's a group in the group that's private, and it's only for my N friends. And you are an N, for sure.
Of course. Yeah, you could tell, right? You just know. Yeah.
I can tell. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done it, and I don't latch onto those letters. I'm more of a numerology guy. I like enneagrams and stuff like that, and so I'm like a 1.
I'm not putting you in any boxes. I'm not putting you in any boxes. I'm just saying, like, it's a good representation of some ways that people think differently, and the way that I gravitate towards ends.
Yeah.
So I'd love to add you to my little, I call it my misfits. I would love to add you. It's no cost.
I'm honored, brother.
It's just a bunch of other ends that are looking non-military. A lot of military, but not all. It's not military's requirement. It's all people who are having this discussion. What is purpose? It's hard, those analytical questions. So, it's just that's my little community of way of chit chatting with people and connecting with people. So.
Well, I'm honored that you're inviting me, and I'm super grateful for your time today and the opportunity to do this sporadic podcast. This was a lot of fun, man.
Isn't this a fun little bit?
This is a really good idea, brother. Yeah. This is cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that you came. Hey, send me the email with the booking link. We'll go on your show. We'll talk about military. This is good. I really want to talk to you some more. It was fun getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah, man, for sure. Only stipulation is you got to block the time, dude. 3-hour time block. I do long form.
You do long form. Wow. Okay, well, now I don't feel so bad about going short. This I'm like I knock them out. I always leave everybody wanting more. Let's send me the email. I'll have my assistant line it up. We'll do it. No problem.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Dude, appreciate you. I'm going to go text Tyler and tell him he's a good friend.
Yeah, he's coming on the show, dude.
Yeah, he doesn't have 3 hours of interesting things to say. That's going to be a short show.
I don't know about that. I could talk to him like I'm talking to you. That's exactly why he connected us. He was like, "You two are gonna just talk and talk and talk." See, yeah. Well, I appreciate the hell out of you, man, and I won't take up any more of your time. We'll get into the weeds on my show for sure.
Perfect. Dude, have a great freaking Tuesday.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Everybody be well.
Take care.